This week's Ignition Insight is a little bit different. We are sitting in the basement of a very empty parking, but we're hoping it's going to change. I'll tell you why. We want to see it full, because joining us this week is the head of motor vehicle finance at Absa, Nelisiwe Baloyi. How are you doing?
I'm good, and you, Marius? How are you?
I'm well. I'm worried that this is empty.
Oh, well.
Are we wanting to see lots of cars being sold in South Africa? It's a bit of a tough time at the moment.
It definitely is. I think with our country having been declared to be in a technical recession, that poses a challenge, I guess, for all.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen a decline in the overall disposable income of consumers, which is concerning, but also, you know, the increase in inflation. Even though it's being picked at 6%, we know the real inflation is more than that. So there is a lot of pressure on consumers, you know.
But Nelisiwe, I mean, it's like we South Africans, we flippin' love cars. So no matter how tough the times are, we want to see ourselves in cars. There's such aspirational elements for us. How have you seen in your time the way people finance and purchase cars change?
It's true. It's very aspirational. I mean, I know with myself specifically, I'm the second generation of driving cars, so it remains aspirational for a lot of people. But also, I think we've seen a change. I mean, I've been working for 23 years. My first car, I bought it over a period of 48 months. Now, we buy cars over a period of 72 months and 30% residual. That's crazy, right?
Can we agree on, like, don't ever buy a car with the residual? I mean, do we not go back to, if you can't buy a car over 48 months with no deposit, you can't afford the car?
I think I can still take it to 60 months,
okay.
Number one. But number two, also, I think we as Absa, we are a responsible lender. So we become trusted advisors to our customers. So we do advise customers, okay, because the implications of buying a car over a period of 72 months with 30% residual, it means we're financing you a depreciating asset over a period of 10 years.
But okay, so I mean, it's a tricky question. So why is there a thing like a residual? Because also in the old days, maybe somebody took a 10% residual, but now those margins are pushing. Is that to make it possible for people to get into cars that they can't afford? I'm not blaming you here, because I understand someone's selling the car, and someone's selling a car with all the bells and whistles and really making it nice, and you've got to get in this car and you can't afford it. Where does the buck stop? Because I know you're saying we need to be switched on as consumers, but I think sometimes our needs and what we want far outweigh the logic at the moment.
No, definitely, and I think we're living in an era where people are about instant gratification.
Yeah.
So, and I think we as business people, you know, together with our dealers, we are also concerned about the extended period, because number one, it takes out our customers out of the market, because if you're financing over 10 years, your replacement cycle extends.
Yeah.
So you are kept in a car for a much longer period. I think my advice, and this is really my personal advice, is that, you know, we should see people more thinking about what is it that they want to ultimately achieve? What is the job that they seek to do with the car?
Okay.
Because the car really is about mobility solution. It's about moving from one place to another. And yes, there comes a time where you have arrived and you want to buy that expensive car, but you should afford it. You know, and I think that's why initially a car was a dream. You know, people always talk about their dream car, but you should be able to afford it. So in my mind, I think we should see a shift in the market, especially in this trying economic environment. We are seeing a shift. People moving away from buying new cars into used cars. But there is still a big bulk where we can further educate our consumers that buying a car over 72 months and 30% residual means you are locked in the car for a much longer period.
I hope you're listening to what Nelisiwe was telling you, because this is fantastic advice. I mean, something we've always felt about is just, you know, really be aware of what you're using a car for, and then buy the car that's going to suit your needs the best and what you can afford. But you're speaking about a dream car. Have you got a dream car?
I do. Except that I can't afford it at this point in time.
Hang on, but that's the right answer. It's a dream car, but you know you can't afford it. Some people will put themselves in the dream car and get into trouble. What is it?
My dream car is a Porsche. My son, who's 18 years old, he says to me, Mom, you must buy yourself a Porsche 911. So I'm assuming that when I turn 60, because then I won't have school fees
What's
and
that,
bonds.
in 35 years' time? Huh?
Yeah. When I turn 60, I will then buy a car. So they'll see this old lady in a Porsche.
Listen,
how cool is that?
Two things. You've got great taste, and so does your son. Because I mean, for us, Porsches are one of the best cars you can buy. They've been around for such a long time, making really good products. So it's interesting that's where both of you see yourself. 60 in a Porsche, not a bad way.
Not
to
a
go.
bad way, yeah.
No. What do you drive currently?
Currently, I drive a Mini Cooper. I think it's easier for me to get around and go to work.
Yeah.
I only work 15 kilometers, from the office, which is fantastic. I think it's versatile, and purposeful for what I need to achieve.
And they look cool. I mean,
exactly.
there's a young, youthful side to it, which I mean is important. Your business is high pressured. It's intense. It's good to have some way to let your hair down and have a bit of fun. So driving your Cooper is going to do that. But what else do you do on a day-to-day basis to step away from work? What's your escape?
I love exercising. Like I said earlier when we were just chatting generally, I have a 28-year-old and people are always amazed at how good I look. Like you said, you were amazed.
I was like, wow. Well, I wish you had it on camera. Like, what?
My kids keep me on my toes.
They do.
And my husband always reminds me when I get heavier. So he reminds me that I must go to the gym. So I've got a hectic schedule, but I do try and eat healthy. Yeah. I've got good support even in the office. I've got great support. My team is really awesome. They also remind me that you have committed to a specific eating plan now and again. So exercising really helps me just to be. But also, for me, I like to add value, outside of my environment. I've got many young girls who really, I think, benefit from me sharing my knowledge and my experience.
Inspirational leadership.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, it's about mentoring others, coaching others, but also in that process, I learn a lot. So that really, just makes me who I am.
It's so cool because I mean you were talking about earlier like the education process now. It's up to each of us to make a change, and I think sometimes we're so caught up in the work that we do and what that influence is. But in actual fact, there's so much more involvement you can have in society. I think especially young girls looking up to someone like you who's in a power position, who's got a power career, the guidance and the advice you can give is critical. Well, what do you say to a 15, 16-year-old girl today in terms of what to do with her life and her career and what's important?
What is important is to get an education, firstly, but also to remain focused, in your studies or whatever that you do it very well. If I look at my career, how I have started, I started in Absa in the very first learnership, in Absa in 1994, straight from matric. So that was a great opportunity that I got.
But you took it?
I took it. I still have my pay slip. My first pay slip, I got paid 500 Rand.
Frame it.
Frame it.
Amazing.
And I always tell my kids that you must never underestimate small beginnings. Because, if you keep a positive attitude, you remain focused and you know what you want, forget your past. You must use your past to help you look to the future. You must make your future bigger than your past. So that, for me, is very important.
Listen, it's amazing advice because I think, there are many opportunities that are out there and sometimes we have our blinkers on and we don't always look at those opportunities and we certainly don't always make the most of them. But yeah, you are, all these years later, heading up what is such an important division for Absa as well. It's been amazing chatting to you. Our 10 minutes is up already. Like that. Nelisiwe, awesome.
Thank you.
I'm going to see you in your Porsche really soon, I think.
No, definitely.
And thanks for the amazing advice. It's been great having you on Insight. Very cool.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Marius.
Pleasure.